there should be 3 dots right next to mute. Click the 3 dots, then go down to where it says stop non-video. Oh, let me see. It should be hide non-video participants. So again, the 3 dots in the top right corner of a box, and hide non-video participants. Once you click that, then you should be good for the rest of the performance. There should be 3 dots. All right, Beverly. First of all, thank you for coming. And second, we would like to ask you to mute yourselves, press stop video. So that should be in the bottom left corner. And let me see. And Linda, for iPad, oh wait, no, never mind, she got it. And
I'm okay. My meetings, as soon as I go stop video and mute after I say hello, I won't be there. Can I say a quick hello and then it's all yours?
Yes.
How are you doing it?
I still don't see the live on YouTube, but I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, it's there.
Anyway, oh, there it is. Okay, let me share. I'm going to share it. Okay, good morning, LLI. Hold on, let me just share it. I'll share it after. I'm okay. My meetings, as soon as I go stop video and mute after I say hello, I won't be there. Okay, I just got rid of my sound on my second computer. Good morning, LLI, and thank you to the Fischler School of Education. We are really excited to host this program, a sociodrama and depression in a COVID world. As many of you know, I'm Linda Maurice. I'm the Director of Community Education and Lifelong Learning. And I just want to remind our LLI friends that we have an afternoon program at 1 p.m. with Bruce Yoskin. He's a member and he's a magician. And we're going to be doing another class on magic. If you have a deck of cards, please bring that with you because that is what Bruce requested. And you all have the link for that. If we have guests here who are not familiar with the LLI, you can find us on the NOVA website, nova.edu/lifelong learning. And you can also just search lifelong learning at the NOVA website. And then you can be in touch with us if you have any questions. With that, I turn the floor over to Dr. Telesco.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Linda. And please help me welcome Dr. Timothy Scala, my colleague at Abraham Fischler College of Education School of Criminal Justice. And we're your co-hosts for today's program. And what you're about to become immersed in is something called sociodrama. And I'm sure that some of you are familiar with, going to the theater, something that we've missed. We're missing in this COVID pandemic where we're not able to go to the theater, those of us who have enjoyed the theater so much. But this is a little different. This is theater techniques. This is using theater and drama to portray a social issue. And the difference between sociodrama and regular theater is that when you go to the show, you go see a performance, you get to talk about it after, when you have coffee or you go to dinner or you're talking to your friend that you went to the show with, and you talk about the characters and you talk about the scenes and you talk about what you got out of it. With sociodrama, we freeze the scene and you get to participate with the characters who stay in character. And so these social issues that we're engaged in really become a learning environment where we're immersed in the character, we're immersed in the scene, we're immersed in the issue, and we get to talk about it and analyze it and learn something from it. So Dr. Scala, you want to tell us a little bit about you as a psychologist and maybe just kind of set the stage a little bit for what we're about to see.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Tim Scala. As Dr. Telesco mentioned, I'm a full-time faculty at the Abraham Fischler College of Education and School of Criminal Justice. And I've been working at NOVA for about 13 years now. And I also do a little bit of private practice on the side as a licensed psychologist and working with a number of different ages, anywhere from adolescence on up to adulthood. And I've had some experience working with the veteran population, both in private practice and also doing some research at NOVA. And I think you're going to see that portrayed today in the sociodrama, working with that population specifically, but also there's a number of different things that you're going to witness today in terms of just being aware of mental health concerns, social isolation, and living in our world currently right now with COVID, presenting new challenges in those areas. So I think you'll get a lot out of it, and feel free to ask any questions, or if you notice things too that are helpful for other attendees, feel free to make those comments as well. I think that'll be make this process a little bit more educational.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Scala. And if I can have now Anthony come on. Dr. Scala will be with us later when we freeze the scene. But if I can have Anthony come back on. Anthony, it's so important, right, for participants to experience the most optimal learning experience and to enjoy this sociodrama by doing a couple of things. And I noticed that you put it in the chat box. Thank you for that. A couple of things. Number one, they should put this on gallery view, correct?
Yes, ma'am. And when you put it on gallery view, you can see almost everyone like side by side and on top of each other to make it like mimic like in person as much as possible.
Good. And then the second thing that's really important is that they keep their videos off, mute themselves. And then the third thing that can really help them with their experience is these 3 dots. Can you talk about the 3 dots and how they can find those 3 dots?
All right. And these 3 dots that's in reference to when you click on when you're on one of the boxes of the people. And on the top right corner, it should say mute, then those 3 boxes directly to the right of it. When you click on those three dots, it should say right underneath, like prop 3 down, hide video non-participants. And we ask you to do this because like if we just go on gallery view now without that, you see everyone in the chat. And that's not what and again, we're trying to mimic like as much in person as possible. So when you click hide non-video participants, it's just the people speaking and who have their video shared. And that would ideally be Dr. Telesco, the rest of the actors, Linda, and I believe Dr. Tim Scala,
Yes.
whenever he chimes in.
Great. And Anthony, by the way, is an officer in the Sociodrama Club. Most of our actors, all of our actors, come from the Sociodrama Club, which is a student organization, mostly made up of undergraduate students. And we've been doing this now for about 3 years. Various sociodrama performances that span many, many different issues. And today we are doing something on depression in a COVID environment. Thank you, Anthony. We'll see you later. And I'm going to stop my video now and we're going to get right into it.
Gotcha. And remember, if you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to throw it in the chat. And when Dr. T stops the performance for questions, you can also speak.
Yes.
So please raise your hand so we can call on you. So it's just not 5 people at once speaking and no one can hear a thing. Perfect.
Thank you. And you see, Anthony he's an apple a day keeps the doctor away. So that's a good, he's eating an apple. That's great. All right. I'm going to stop my video and we're going to say action.
Good morning? Oh, please shut that good morning up where the sun doesn't shine. We haven't heard back from the office yet, have we? In the morning, what do you expect me to be doing? I am the CEO and you can't even get this job done right? Listen, oh my gosh, somebody please get that phone. It's been ringing for half an hour. If you don't get me these documents by 10:30, you're fired. And somebody get me a cup of coffee. I have only had one this morning. Somebody get the phone. You, hey, you. Were you able to get the copies that I told you? Okay, put them down on my desk and leave. I need to call my father. Yes, I need to call my father. I haven't been able to speak to the man in over 10 days. He's about to appear in my nightmares, okay? Leave, please. Let's see if he answers.
Hi, sweetie.
Oh gosh. Hi, Dad. Listen. Put the computer down. Put the computer down and face away from the camera.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure this thing out. I just got this.
Okay. Basically, until you see yourself like I am seeing myself. There we go.
All right. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's great, Dad. What are you doing? How's it going?
I'm, same old. It gets kind of lonely around here. What are you up to?
What do you think I'm up to, Dad? Same as always, work.
Yeah, I know. You look stressed.
Well, that's what comes with having to make a lot of money. So has your nurse dropped by today yet?
Not yet. I haven't seen her in a few days, but you know, she's supposed to come by.
What do you mean you haven't seen her in a few days? You know what? I'm gonna call the office about that. I'm becoming suspicious of her.
Yeah, well, so am I, because you know, honestly, between me and you, I think she's stealing from me. Because I can't find anything around here. Like I keep losing things and I can't find anything.
Dad, I think it's less than stealing and more of you starting to lose your memory.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't trust her.
well, it is what it is, Dad. I'm gonna contact the office about that. Don't worry. Excuse me. Hey, get this copied as well. Thank you. So, Dad, what are your plans? What are you going to be doing?
Oh, well, you know, hopefully my nurse will come by today. You know, I keep asking her to bring somebody over to fix my wheelchair.
Your
Yeah.
wheelchair.
Yeah, my wheelchair, the left wheel on it broke like 5 days ago.
Dad, I sent you money to get a new wheelchair. What do you mean fixing it?
Yeah, but I don't need a new wheelchair. I bought this computer instead so I can get on here and talk to you.
Dad, I could have sent you money for a new computer and a new wheelchair.
Yeah, I don't want you to have to do all that. You work hard enough.
Gosh, Dad, you really know what to do to make me feel guilty.
No, it's not about that at all. I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. I just don't want you to spend your money. You know, you work hard for that.
Listen, I have to take care of you somehow. I can't be over there. I'm risking my life with Corona. I've got 50 people in one office space. I have to be able to take care of you somehow. So
I
at least
know,
spend
but,
the
you
money.
know, I'd really like to see you. You know, I know this Zoom thing is nice and all, but I'd really like to see you in person. You know, I miss you.
Dad, listen, I miss you too, but come on, Dad. With COVID, you know how dangerous it could be. I don't want to risk your life as well.
I know.
I know it's not the most ideal thing, but we have to deal with it for now, okay?
It just gets lonely.
I know. But okay, listen, I really need to go. I have a meeting in 10 minutes and you know, I can't really do a lot.
I know. You know,
Speaking
try not to stress. I mean, you look like you're tired. You need to get some more rest. You know, you're working too
I'll see
hard.
what I can do about that, Dad. I'm gonna go. I'll see you around, okay? Well, I'll call you when I can. Bye,
All
Dad.
right, sweetie, let's try and well, I guess we won't try and make dinner appointment, you know. I just don't get to see her.
Cut. Freeze. All right. I'm going to ask for David and Greta to come back on. I'm going to ask Dr. Scala to come on. And so, wow. Wow. David. Sad, right? What's going on for you? I mean, we see a couple of things, but you want to tell us a little bit of maybe a backstory here?
A little backstory. Let's see. I served in Iraq and Afghanistan. I was hurt overseas. Now I'm 100% disabled. I'm in a wheelchair. You know, it's not the greatest wheelchair, but I've been dealing with it. Now the damn thing doesn't work right. The wheel on it, the left side of it's stuck. My daughter, you know, she's busy all the time. She's working. I don't really get to see her much.
Yeah.
So, I
Dr.
mean, what can I
Scala?
say?
As a psychologist, as a clinician, what do you observe here? What do you see in David?
Well, for one, just looking at his appearance, you see a person that is depressed just in his overall appearance. And then you're seeing comments of him, you know, in the scene we saw him mention it gets lonely around here. He's reaching out to his daughter and wanting his daughter's company. And we can see that his daughter is a very busy business woman and seems to mean well, but at the same time, maybe just doesn't have that time to devote to David that he needs right now, especially during COVID. I think it creates that huge disconnect. And so these things are already starting to pile up in his mind, and him feeling lonelier and lonelier, and falling into a greater depression as I'm seeing.
Yes, thank you for that. So let's talk to the daughter a minute, Greta.
Yes.
Very busy. You seem overwhelmed. What's going on for you?
I mean, I built this company from the ground up. I'm the CEO. I'm constantly working. I love my dad, but it's hard to take care of him when, he's disabled, and due to Corona, I don't really get to go and see him as often as I would like. But I mean, aside from that, I'm also taking care of 50 workers at the same time. So, cut me a little slack, I say.
Okay, so now's the opportunity for our participants to raise their hands if they would like to engage the characters or Dr. Scala on any questions that they might have, but specifically directing your questions to the characters. If there's any questions or participation that you would like to engage in with the characters, to raise your hand, and then we can kind of call on you and then have you engage your video. If anyone has any questions or comments that they would like to raise to any of the participants. Okay, well, I have a couple of questions. Just feel free then, when Anthony is behind the scenes, he'll see your hand up, and then he'll say out loud, okay, we have Stuart has got his hand raised. Excellent, Stuart. So if you can please share your video, come on screen, and unmute yourself, and please direct your question to whoever you want to direct your question to.
Well, I have a few comments based on the psychodrama. First, the daughter she started her own company. She's very busy and ordering people around, get me coffee, do this. So she has problems of her own, particularly during COVID, and perhaps she took a loan out to run her business. So she's thinking about her employees, and so she loves her father, but she's sending money to fix things. And this guy who has been disabled would be technically in the care of the VA, and they would have people going to his house and helping him. So I found that if you want to be accurate about things, this guy is he's a decorated veteran. He fought wherever, Afghanistan, and he's totally disabled in a wheelchair, and it's not even working. So he needs help, and the daughter has to help him apparently, because maybe he's not able to make calls. So she's going to have to help him and be a little bit more empathetic towards him. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Stuart. Great comment. So after you're finished coming on the screen, then you stop your video again. And Beth Allen has her hand up. And David, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to direct this at Stuart. I am an actual combat vet, and believe it or not, I am 100% disabled.
But
and
David,
like many of our
veterans, David, you're staying in character, right?
Right.
So you're in characters talking now, right?
Right. Well, both really, but yes.
No, right. You're staying in character now, right, David?
Yes. Even as a combat veteran, we are under the care of the VA, and the VA is the one that keeps sending me the caregivers. But not all caregivers are created equal, and we all know that.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to see something else unfold later in the day, because this is a day in the life of David, a disabled vet who's in the midst of, with all of his problems and all of his issues and all of his challenges now in this COVID environment, and how does that exponentially create even more of a deleterious effect? So I see that there are two participants who have their hands raised. We have Beth Allen was first, and then Frank Stewart will be second. So Beth, you want to come on, share your video with us? Awesome.
Here. So I want to ask the daughter, Greta, do you identify yourself as a caregiver, and have you sought help for yourself in that role through different agencies or a therapist? And if you thought about doing some yoga and breathing, I really feel your pain, having been a caregiver to my mother for a long time, and I have a husband that has some issues. And it's a tough job. And I didn't even know there was a word as caregiver when I started taking care of my mother after her stroke. And then my father died. And I really feel for you because you're very busy. And my other question would be, do you have any siblings or other support systems to help you besides directing everybody in your office in your frantic way? I want you to breathe. That's what I have to say.
All right. To answer your first question, I have tried therapy several times. Doesn't really stick when you have therapy first and then in the afternoon you have to run a company. It can be very difficult. I try to do the best that I can to keep my psychological side at rest for at least an hour a day. And for the second question, no, I don't have any siblings. It is only me and my dad left. And I think, you know, I don't see myself as a caregiver. I give my dad as much money as I can for him to take care of himself and for him to hire people to take care of him. And I do try to keep in contact with the VA just to see who they're sending over for my dad. But again, I don't have enough hours in the day, nor do I get enough sleep in the day to have to deal with everybody that's involved in my father's life. But I try to do my best, I think.
Oh, I think you're trying to do your best. I feel for you, as I said, very empathetic towards your position. Relationships and problems aren't always solved with money. And it's hard. I see that you're trying to touch your emotions, but I feel like you could do a little bit better in that and in trying to deal in relationships with your employees as well as your dad. So, but I do have empathy for you as a caregiver. I'm done.
Thank you, Beth, for raising that issue. Dr. Scala, do you, from a clinician's perspective, do you have any kind of advice, if you will, or guidance or even analysis for the daughter?
Yeah, I think both Beth and Stuart brought up some excellent points about Greta just needing time for herself and to work on herself. And seems like she approaches life almost like she approaches her business. She thinks that she can fix everything, by giving money or having some type of structured procedure for things, not necessarily an empathetic type of approach, which I think it was Stuart who'd mentioned that. And so you're seeing that poor David, the one family member that he has left, he has a person who doesn't see herself in the caregiver role, but knows she has to do something in terms of support, and that support is coming to him in the wrong manner and not what he really needs right now.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Scala. And so I know there's a lot of people that have their hands raised. I want to go to our YouTube viewers for a moment. Actually, happens to be one of my doctoral students, Essence, who has a question for the daughter. She said, have you thought about having your dad move in with you and have the caregiver come to your house?
All right, so I have thought about that. I have given it some thought. Here's the thing. I am never home. In all honesty, I live more in the office than I live at home. So having my dad invade the one space that I do have for myself for 4 hours each day, almost 5 if we really grind in the amount of time that I get to shower and do my skincare and then try to go to sleep. I don't think it would be beneficial either for me or for him. You know, having his own house, he gets to have his own space, I think. So no, I don't think it would be a good idea for him to live with me at the moment, at least.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. We have a lot of hands raised, so I'm going to go in order here. It's going to be Frank and then Ira. Then we're going to go to a comment on YouTube, and then we'll come to Stuart. So Frank, you're up. You can share your screen with us. Not your screen, your camera. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning.
Thank you, Frank. Go ahead.
This is to Greta. My question is, how are your employees doing? My experience has been that very often your employees tend to reflect the attitude and the degree of attention to which you bring to them. And that becomes a spiraling kind of downward cycle. The degree to which they feel comfort and steadiness and security and direction will be the degree to which they are able to function well. But the degree to which they dysfunction and display anxiety and scattered direction, that will then feed back on you to make your job all the more difficult. So my suggestion and my asking is, how are your employees doing? And shouldn't you be taking some cues from them if you feel they are one of your responsibilities as well?
All right, Frank, thank you so much for that feedback. Here's the thing, when we have deadlines and when we have a quota to meet, sometimes we do have to put our emotions past ourselves because we are trying to stay afloat during these times. As someone previously mentioned, we had to take out a loan, which is a lot because we're not necessarily a small business. If we were a small business, I don't think we would all be as anxious as we are right now. But we are a steady business and having to keep up with that, you know, we're doing the best that we can. And I think they can take some of the harsh words I give at them sometimes, and I'll always try to, at the end of the day, reward them somehow.
Yeah. I mean, great. So Dr. Scala, what are you seeing in terms of, and I know that our focus is really David, but of course we can see through Greta's kind of irritability that there's this stress, this burnout, this what you know, and some things we've already said in terms of some tips for her and some guidance for her. But as a clinician, psychologist, what are you seeing in Greta that that may actually, many of our viewers might even be experiencing in this COVID environment where everyone is at a very high stress level?
Yeah, I definitely see the height of her stress, and also it seems like she has a hard time delegating some work, and it's almost like she's trying to take on everything herself, and maybe feels comfortable in that role. Like if she doesn't handle it, it won't get done, and there's a lot of pressure behind that. That's one area I could see where she could maybe alleviate some of that stress, being able to you know, delegate that work a little bit more and freeing up more time for herself, and being able to manage the you know, the mental health side of things for herself. Good. And some of us are, you know, control freaks. And so we want to control everything, and we don't want to delegate because we know that we are going to do it the best. And it's going to take me so much time to, you know, give you instructions. I might as well just do it myself. Greta, is that, can you identify? You identify with that?
Yes.
Okay. But what happens then is everything starts piling up and we become very overwhelmed. And when we become overwhelmed, we become irritable, we become depressed, insomnia, lots of things, lots of, you know, negative effects on our health, on our mind, body, spirit. So Ira, I know you've been waiting. You want to share your camera with us, your video with us, and ask your question. Who are you directing your question to? You're on mute. You're on mute. You're muted. Can't hear you.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Not used to turning both on at once. So I have a few comments and observations, and they're for both of them because it's an interaction. And one is that it would be helpful if you had the caregiver there for this conversation. One, to kind of mediate, one to actually see what the issue is, because maybe he has some dementia, maybe he's not thinking properly about the wheelchair, maybe the wheelchair's fixed, Anyway, so that's one thing. And it could be anyone. It could be a doctor, it could be the caregiver, it could be a neutral third party. And I see the vet, and I'm always concerned about vets, that they don't have, I've seen some vets that have a real purpose in life. And a lot of them make other vets the purpose, and help them. So I think it'd be helpful if he had some kind of a distraction or a hobby or a purpose, that they could talk about other than wheelchairs and caregivers. And then the other thing is personal for me, along with them, is that one more year of this sequestration is going to be very difficult for everyone. I mean, including me. I mean, and my wife. It's just, you can pull your hair out. You can't go do a lot of things. So it's a big issue. And those are my observations.
Great. Thank you so much, Ira. Awesome. These are really, really great comments and analysis. And so I want to just go to our YouTube group for a minute. There's a lot of comments that are coming up on YouTube. So just give me one second to look this up. Keldon says, the relationship and problems are not always solved with money, and it's a true concern about caregivers and burnout. Essence says it's time for the daughter to find a telework job. I've been a caregiver before I get it, but when a parent needs us, we should be there. And Keldon says, I've been a caregiver as well, and there's so much that a caregiver can do. They should not make excuses. We must be able to adjust our work and lifestyle in order to accommodate our parent. Dr. Scala, do you want to weigh in on that? And Greta, you look like you want to respond too. So we'll go to Dr. Scala, we'll go to Greta, then we'll go to one more hand raised here in the room, and then we'll actually go to the next scene. So Dr. Scala, and then Greta, and then we have someone else that has their hand raised.
Yeah, I agree with that comment on YouTube. And I think also Ira had mentioned about spending, quality time, Greta and David maybe spending some quality time talking about things other than his health difficulties or mental health difficulties, doing a fun activity. Those are the types of connections that help somebody who's feeling isolated and depressed, especially again too in this time of COVID. And I think those are things that are going to be more helpful right now than Greta sending money and trying to fix the little health difficulties that David throws her way and the things he's experiencing.
Great, thank you. And Greta, you might be feeling a little attacked right now. Are you feeling that? You're feeling a little defensive, perhaps?
A little bit, because I don't believe a lot of people are in the same situation that I am in. But to respond to the people saying that I should become my dad's full-time caregiver or even half-time caregiver, I would like to say something to them. This is my life. My father made his choices throughout his life, which I supported as a young child. My dad was my hero. My dad is still my hero. But this is my life right now, and I am trying to help him as much as I can with money. And I know I'm not always emotionally available, but I'm not even emotionally available to myself sometimes. So I would just like to point that out to people, because I think they're really forgetting that I am trying my best while also going through a pandemic. I can't be spending quality time with my father when there's a possibility that I might test positive for COVID. COVID testing takes 2-3 weeks to get back. whether positive or negative. I can't just make a spontaneous decision to go and meet with my father. So just some things that I would like to point out. That's
Okay,
all.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And, you know, like that's the beauty of sociodrama, is that we get to really peek inside of and kind of like put on someone's life, like, you know, to step in their shoes, to really feel and empathize. Now, no one wants to attack any of the characters, who, you know, we don't want to do that, but we do want to raise some awareness. So, you know, sometimes when we're in this, we've got this tunnel vision of this work that we're doing, you know, we have our life, we have our work, we have our responsibilities, and some of us put out a lot of fires. And so dad becomes another fire to put out, like dad becomes another to do. And that's not the place we want to really come from. We want to come from a more mindful, present, ever empathic place, right? Dr. Scala, would you agree?
Sure, I would agree with that. And I think someone also had mentioned, you know, having a a health worker there as part of a meeting between David and Greta. And I thought that was a great idea too, because there are times that, understandably so, that Greta's not going to have the ability to be there for, you know, her father. And so if there can be some type of collaboration between multiple people and getting everybody on the same page and, you know, providing care for David when needed, I think things are going to be a lot smoother, rather than, you know, her you know, being kind of standoffish or calling him during work hours. That in itself is probably not the best idea to do, is to, you know, reach out to your father in the middle of work. And so, you know, coming to a better plan, I think, would be a much better way to approach this.
Yes, great. That's excellent. But that's, again, speaks to that multitasking, overwhelmed, got to get it in, got to get this done kind of thing. But I think that David, you feel that. I think that David, you feel that she's multitasking with her relationship with you. Am I right?
Well, I mean, I don't get to see my daughter very often. And when I get to talk to her, it's always great just to hear her. And now that I bought a computer, I can see her and interact. And that's even better, but it's not the same as being able to see her in person. So when she calls me and she's at work and I can see that she's busy and people are coming and going and the phone's going off the hook and she's doing 10 different things at once, I feel like more of a burden when she does that.
Yeah, that's not helpful. It's not helpful. So it almost would have been better off maybe her not calling you at all and waiting until later, as Dr. Scala has mentioned. We also had a YouTube comment that asked, what was your relationship like growing up, Greta, with dad? And you said earlier he's your hero, and so are we to assume that you had a good relationship with him in the past?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
My dad has always been my hero. Before mom passed away, you know, I used to spend a lot of time with mom. She always told me, you know, dad is out there protecting our country and protecting us. So I still do, but you know, time changes, and it's not like I want to ignore my father, but.
Right. So you have a good relationship. And Dr. Scala, you know, I know you come from a psychology background. I come from a social work background. So this is like really about like strengths perspective. So, right. Do you want to speak about that? Like how we can build upon the strength of their relationship that they had growing up. There wasn't trauma. It doesn't sound like. You want to speak to that? Anything about strengths, building and empowering this?
Yeah, I see this almost as a protective factor in this particular case, because, you know, there is that history of closeness and likely a strong history of doing different things that they enjoyed together that you can build upon and utilize now during this particular time. So that definitely is a strength. And I think things could be much worse in this particular case if there was a history of a poor relationship and this is the only family member that David has right now. So that definitely is a strength.
Great, thank you. I know we have a lot of hands up. I'm going to try to get to all of them before we go to the next scene. So we have Stuart and then Beth. And Frank had his hand up, but he put it down. So let's go with Stuart, then Beth, then Frank, if he still wants to, and then we'll go to the next scene.
Yeah, thank you thank you very much for letting me go again. Second, I want to
Double
address.
dipper.
I would like to address my questions and comments to Dad. Yeah. First, I want to thank you for your service. In my opinion, you're a real hero for serving and being disabled. And I think the situation, in my view, is dire. You definitely need help. You've mentioned that the VA helps by sending you people, and you mentioned also they're not all good. Some are helpful, so some are not. So I consider your situation dire because perhaps your daughter can't be a caregiver at this time, and some siblings are not good caregivers. They don't know how to be, they don't want to, they might be alienated, although she's had a good relation to you in the past. But right now, during COVID, things have changed. She's not the same daughter as was before. So my question is this: first of all, you're a vet. Have you got any arms in the house? How are you feeling about yourself? Are you in danger? Are you feeling so depressed that you may want to harm yourself?
Well, Stuart, thank you very much for your comments and recognizing that, I am a veteran. First, I want to address the relationship with my daughter. Don't get me wrong. I see a lot of comments directed at her. Honestly, I have a great relationship with my daughter. She's doing her best. She's got to make a living and try and succeed in life. And that's what I always taught her was, do your best for the best possible outcome. And she's doing what I taught her. So I can't blame her there. As far as our relationship in the past, when she was growing up, I was gone a lot. So now, excuse me, now I'm trying to improve my relationship with my daughter and actually be there, to spend time with her. And unfortunately, she's not a kid anymore. So, I've got to take what I can get.
Okay, but can I ask you another question? Let's assume your daughter is so busy she can't get over there when you need her. So have you reached out to your friends, buddies that you might have been in service with, that you can talk with and spend time with other people other than your daughter, and also a caregiver?
Right, that's a great question. I do have a couple of friends that I try and reach out to. Unfortunately, just like my daughter, they're not disabled like I am. They're busy with their own lives and wives and kids and jobs, and they don't always have time to come around or to spend time with me.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to ask you a question.
Stuart.
One more question.
Yeah, one more question quick, because we got to go to the next scene.
Okay, I hear you. What do you need? Do you need what do you need now? Do you have enough meds? Do you have enough things there to get through? I noticed you mentioned something about someone stealing from you. How important is that an issue?
Well, to go to that factor, I mean, the caregivers, I don't know what's going on. Honestly, I can't find anything in the house. It seems like I put things in one drawer, I go to find them the next day, they're not there. I don't know if it's me, if it's her, what the situation is.
All right.
Thank you very much. I'd like to come over and help you.
Thank you. So I'm going to just hold off with the those final comments. We have two more scenes that we have to get through. So we're going to ask you to stop your video for those who are participating, and make sure you put gallery view for the best possible optimal experience, and also hide non-video participants, which is the 3 dots in the square. Just hit those 3 dots and you'll see hide non-video participants, and that's the best way for you to really experience this sociodrama. So we're going to go to scene 2. Hold your comments. I know I know we didn't get to a couple of people, Frank for one, and Beth for the other. Those were 2 people that wanted to say something, but hold your comments, think about what you wanted to ask, and you can certainly ask in the second scene. All right, so I'm going to stop my video and we're going to see what's happening with David later in the day.
David. David.
Yeah, I'm in here.
Hey, how are you?
Well, you know, another day.
Yeah?
Still here.
Did you take your meds?
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah, that's good enough. Where's that paper that I always sign?
I don't know. It's wherever you left it.
Oh, here.
I can't find anything around here.
Why?
Beats me. I mean, I put things away where I normally do, and I go back to find them, and they're gone. I don't know what's going on.
I signed the 3 hours. Okay, the 3 hours are signed. Did you eat?
Yeah, I had an apple earlier today.
What's that smell?
I don't know. It ain't me.
Let me check. Is that the chicken from 2 weeks ago?
You tell me. I can't reach up there.
Oh, why? Why can't you reach?
I can't even get to the. I can barely get to the kitchen. I mean, my wheelchair is still broken.
Oh, I forgot to send the man, but I'll do it later.
Great.
Did you take your meds? Yeah.
I
Vitamins?
told you I took some of them.
Oh, wait, hold on. Someone's calling.
Yep, of course. There she goes again on the damn phone.
Yeah.
As always.
I'll be there in 20.
Doesn't pay any attention
Yeah,
to what I tell her.
tell the nail lady that I'll be there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go figure.
Okay.
Get your nails done. It's more important.
Yeah. Okay. Bye. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. Bye. Bye. What? What'd you say?
Nothing. I didn't say
Okay.
anything.
If you need me, call me. I'll be back this week. I don't know when. But I'll be back so I can sign that paper for the rest of the week. And yeah. Okay.
Hey, I guess. Well, you know, do me a favor. Have the guy come over for my wheelchair. Yeah, see, she doesn't even pay any damn attention to me. There she goes again.
Okay, freeze. Excellent. If I can have Dr. Scala come back. Michelle. Wow. Wow.
See what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we do. Now, I'm going to go for a minute to Nellie and ask Nellie if she can share her video. She has a question, then we'll go to see if Frank still wants to ask a question and if Beth has a comment.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can.
Hi.
Thank you, Nellie.
Okay, so I am totally taken aback with this help. I mean, what kind of help is the VA sending to this poor man? She comes and she's on the phone and she forgot about the wheelchair and she asked him if he ate. He just had an apple. She doesn't offer to fix him anything. She reaches the microwave oven. What is this all about? And how could he not be absolutely depressed with this help? He needs help. He doesn't even have his wheelchair to go places. I mean, this is beneath anything I can accept. And with the last scene, you know, it's another generation. I had a very important job, but I took off for 2 weeks to be with my father at his deathbed. And I held his hand until the last minute. So you take minutes and you be with your father. And I'm sorry to tell you, I'm very disappointed with the new generation. What about his feelings? You all have empathy for her. Yes, she has a job, as we all had, but she has a father who needs her. So this is my thought.
Thank you, Nellie, for that. Really, that's so well said. Dr. Scala, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I think in this particular case, there's definitely, I see this as negligence by this particular caretaker. And unfortunately, I have heard of stories of these types of caretakers and working not only with vets, but with the older adult population. And we hope that those numbers are small. We hope that there's not that many of these types of caretakers out there. And providing this poor help. I think in their defense, I think sometimes maybe they're burnt out as well, seeing maybe many patients throughout the day, and maybe it's a time where they need to also reassess and reevaluate, is this something they want to continue doing if they're not in that ability to help anymore. So that I definitely see as a problematic area here.
Okay, thank you. So Beth Allen, I know you have your hand up again. So you wanna share your video and ask a
Sure.
question? Great.
Okay. I've got so many things to think about this. First of all, I want to know where Michelle, the caregiver, where's your mask? If you're in there going from place to place.
That's what I want to know too.
Yeah, but you didn't even go near David, and that's really important that you go and see him and check on him. I know that we're distancing and we're also on Zoom, but you're the lack of care. But more importantly, I really want to know why his daughter doesn't empower him in some ways. He may be disabled physically, but he certainly seems to have a pretty good brain. He's aware that he's not finding things and that there could be somebody else moving things around, which happens to us. And I feel like that, David, then you could be more empowered to say, this is not acceptable. And perhaps if your daughter didn't treat you and kind of tell you what you should do, or I hate the word should in these situations, but I think you could manage more of your care. You seem like you're a really strong guy, and yet you don't seem to have that, because you're depressed, probably feel like you can make changes yourself. So how can somebody help you? Perhaps you need to be talking to a therapist via Zoom or via phone to empower you to have more say in caring for yourself. Because we can't make you do anything. Your daughter can't make you do anything. Only you can really make the changes in your life.
Thank you, Beth.
Well, thank you, Beth, for your comments. A couple of things to address there. I mean, like I said before, I really can't blame my daughter for what's going on. You know, this happened to me because of my own choices in life. She really is doing the best that she can. As far as my caregiver, I mean, this is the third one they've sent me. And like I said, they're not all created equal. And honestly, I'm afraid to say anything, because if I say anything to her, then, I mean, she's already signing for 3 hours and not staying 3 hours, obviously. So if I say anything to her that this isn't acceptable, you know, I don't know what's going to happen next, you know, whether it leads to any type of abuse, more negligence, more neglect.
Yeah.
Last time I tried to say something, you know, hey, my wheelchair is not working, she didn't show up for 4 days.
Right.
So
thank you, Beth, for your comment. I just, before we get to Mike, who has popped in, before we get to you, Mike, you know, David, and I think that Dr. Scala I might ask for your assistance to explain to David that, and to guide him, that it sounds like victim blaming. I made my own choices, you know, kind of thing. And, you know, that he's the victim of trauma,
Yeah.
and injury. So how might you guide him in a different direction so that he is less stigmatizing himself, less self-blame, and self-criticism?
Yeah, he's definitely taken almost kind of like a defeatist attitude as well in this process. And I think the comment about kind of taking ownership a little bit and responsibility for what he's going through could be something that could be a nice start for him to you know, help him understand that yes, this is an unfortunate situation he's in, and reminding him though of all of the good that you know, happened before that you know, the good that he did that unfortunately ended up in this situation. And now kind of getting him to almost kind of live a little bit more in the present, and being mindful of what he can do now, even just little things that he can do now to feel better about things and moving in a positive direction.
Yeah, thank you. You know, before we get to Mike, Michelle, I got a lot of comments here on YouTube that, you know,
Okay.
oh my Lord, she's useless. Definitely need to consider replacing the caretaker. And then that person edited their own comment and said, I'm going to update my initial impression. She needs to be replaced immediately. And Jessica also says, my grandmother had a short stint with a caretaker like that. It was practically elder abuse. So I'm gonna let you comment on those comments, and then we'll get to Mike. Go ahead.
I don't think I'm useless. I come, I check he's alive. That's good. Yeah, I know. One of the comments was about my mask. I have a mask. It's right here. Do I wear it? No. Am I sick?
Yeah.
Do I be sick? No. David's here in the house all day. He doesn't come out. No one comes and visits him. So how is he gonna get COVID? He's not. So why should I wear a mask?
Through you.
I'm comfortable too.
Good. All right, Mike, you're up.
Thank you, everybody. David, again, as someone said before, thank you so much for your service. Thank you for your service. My wife, you know, my wife says we're all going through this storm together, but unfortunately, we're all in different boats. And I feel for you. I feel for your daughter. A couple of things, you know, but I would just say, have you thought about, like, for example, since you know your caregiver is supposed to come, for a couple of reasons, your caregiver has to come a couple of hours a day. They're supposed to come every a couple of days. And, you know, with respect to that, think about, like, when she does come, first of all, you don't have to accept unacceptable behavior. You know, we teach people, I think, we teach people how to treat us. And have you thought about, for example, when she's going to come, what you want to do? For example, you mentioned the microwave and you can't get there. So if you're going to have a hot meal or something, that's something that she can, you know, help you with, right? And clean, you know, take care of it and those kind of things. And sort of those kind of things. You know, this was an expression when I was a kid, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And even when she was there, while she was supposed to be with you, she was taking a call and saying she was going to be there in 20 minutes, even though she's supposed to be there with you. So are there things like that? And also, if she is not doing the job, then you have these lists of things that you wanted her to do that are within her purview. And you can kind of go back and say, look, she was supposed to do this, she was supposed to do this, so that it's not just this, you know, people not doing what they're supposed to do. Have you thought about that?
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Well, Mike, like I mentioned before, yeah, I mean, I think about that often. You know, there's things around the house. I try and clean as much as I can. I try and take care of myself. You know, you can't, when you got a freezer full of TV dinners, it's not really helpful when you can't get to the microwave. So, as far as caregivers, I mean, you see what happened. I try and tell her, you know, hey, these are the things I need. And she blows me off. She's always on the phone. She's always, you know, quick to come in, sign that she's been there for hours, and just turn around and leave. So
Michelle, yeah. So Michelle, can you answer? You want to respond? You want to respond to these indictments?
I signed because I don't have to be here for that long. I checked that he's okay. He took his meds that he was supposed to take. What else do you want me to do? Just sit around, do nothing? I have things to do.
See what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, Dr. Scala, like, we want to talk about, like, trying to be problem solvers here for David's well-being. The microwave is too high. He can't get, obviously he's disabled. You're completely have no use of your legs, correct, David?
Yeah, no, no
Right.
use.
So
No use
why
from.
is the microwave so high up?
I mean, that's just
Right.
that it's been that way since I moved in here.
So Dr. Scala, what kind of like resources might you give him as a solution to this?
Well, for one thing, it seems like they haven't had much dialogue or conversation about his needs. It's almost like too that David is a little bit hesitant or fearful to ask for things and for the reaction that he might get. So maybe having just kind of an open conversation with Michelle about needs, and then even talking about things like something as simple as a microwave, purchasing another microwave that can be lower for him, that would make both their lives easier. I think there's a lot of problem solving that can be discussed, and maybe even having his daughter being a part of the conversation. I think that was somebody said that in the first scene. This is an opportunity and an example to utilize the daughter and being part of that meeting and setting up something again that's going to make everything much more fluent and easier for everyone.
Yes, exactly. Essence on YouTube is saying that he needs a new wheelchair, but the caretaker already said she didn't send the forms. The VA has wheelchairs that lift. So there's that. Michelle, why are you not taking more of a proactive approach? Are you not happy with your job? And I really, want to highlight and underscore the fact that it's really unacceptable that you don't have a mask on.
Well, I take care of 4 vets. I every 3 hours have to go do rotations and see how they're doing. So I have a lot on my plate. Besides that, I have a job. I have children that I have to take care of. I have to go see if they're doing their schooling through that online platform that I'm not liking for them. I'd rather them be in school. So I have a lot of things on my plate, and this is just one of them that I could do quick, easy, fast, and get paid.
Yeah, quick and easy, in and out.
Yeah.
Wow. So I got Surprise has had her hand up for a while, and I'm going to ask her to please share her video if she would like and ask her question.
Okay, my name is actually Ricky. The computer's doing this. The computer's not letting me share my video. I don't know why. It says unable to start video.
Okay.
But I'll speak anyway.
Yeah, let me get you. Let me see if I could. How about now?
Okay, here I am. Okay. David, I relate to your situation so much. Up until November, when this person passed away, I had medical power of attorney over a completely disabled cousin in California. I shared power of attorney with his niece who lived in New York. So everybody was cross country. He also had schizophrenia. So unless he was properly medicated, he couldn't always make his decisions. So you have to be in touch and let your daughter know everything that's going on, because some of his caregivers were wonderful, and he had several of them because he had many medical problems, and some of them were awful. But it took us being in touch with them. Sometimes it took us being in touch with their supervisors. It took us being in touch with his doctors. And it took a constant communication with everybody involved in his care to get all of these things taken care of. And also, if he was given money, sometimes he wouldn't always use the money properly. So sometimes, like if you really need a new wheelchair and you're not getting it, maybe your daughter could help you get it ordered instead of having the caregiver do it. There are other interventions, but to get all of this done, you have to be able to communicate to your daughter how much trouble you're having getting your proper care, because you're starting with the idea that if you can, and this has been said before, that if you complain, it's going to backfire on you. But the proper care is out there. You're just not getting it, and you need help getting it. And I've been in not your situation, but your daughter's situation, and I know that there are many more things that can be done for you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Luckily, I wasn't working like your daughter is, so I had a lot more time to give to this.
Well, like I said, my daughter sends plenty of money, and I feel bad that she even does that. But as far as ordering my wheelchair, she did send me money for that, and she did try to get involved in getting me a new wheelchair. But instead, I spent the money on this computer so that at least then I can see my daughter. And, you know, I don't get to see her in person. So at least then I can see her on here.
Right, but you're not getting the follow through from your caregiver, and your daughter needs to
That's
help
for damn
with that.
sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Ricky. That's great. Dr. Scala, do you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I agree with Ricky. You know, it's that old phrase, it takes a village. And I think in a case like this, there needs to be a lot of collaboration of care, and, you know, having any professionals and clinicians or individuals working with David being on the same page and all, you know, pulling their weight and providing support where needed. So that's such a true statement, and definitely agree with.
Excellent, excellent. Now we've got a couple of comments in the chat box here that I'd like to go to. Rudy says caretaker may not have any symptoms, but it could be unknown. So again, the need to wear the mask is so important, and that I think that's another issue, Dr. Scala, that we maybe can even refer to. Thank you, Ricky. You can stop your video now, but and you please feel free to come on later on if you have any other comments that you'd like to participate in. But Dr. Scala, the sort of the psychology of the mask, the psychology of this, people not feeling empowered enough to say, could you, I'm not comfortable, please put a mask on. You know, I've got my mask on, but you don't have your mask on, and I'm a vulnerable population, and I'm not okay with that. But it takes someone to feel empowered enough to be able to do that, enough confidence in themselves, but we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So can you speak to that for a minute?
Yeah, I think that in this particular case too, it's another instance where David's afraid to share his thoughts or feelings with Michelle. There's this overall sense of fear, and whatever he tells her, that it's going to lead to something negative for him, or even more lack of care. So he's probably coming from that perspective of not wanting to mention that. And then in Michelle's case too, I think there is that belief out there where if a person feels like they're not sick, or they're not showing any signs or symptoms of this virus, that they're okay and they don't need to wear a mask. It's, you know, they're not going to spread it to anyone, when we know for a fact now we're finding out more and more cases that are asymptomatic, and you can still spread that to a more vulnerable population who it's going to be more severe for them to, you know, acquire this virus.
Exactly. And so, Michelle, what's your response? I mean, why are you not wearing the mask? You're a caretaker, for goodness sakes, you're in the medical field. Why are you not wearing a mask?
I don't need to wear it. I'm not sick. I don't look sick. I go to my patients, to my vets, and I go and I visit them. They're home the whole day.
Look how many people she said she takes care of.
Yeah, she
He's
said.
not gonna get me sick.
Yeah,
it's fine.
So I hear some of our participants are moaning with disgust.
Yeah.
So I think that's Nellie. I think Nellie is just
Yes,
she's had
I
it.
had
Nellie
it,
could,
absolutely.
if Nellie could reach through the Zoom and strangle Michelle, I think she would. That says, I suggest that David's daughter get him a membership to LLI.
I am a member of LLI.
So that he can have some social interaction. And also Mickey is saying, can David go to a daycare center where he can maybe interact with others? So David, any ideas on that? Why?
Well, a couple things. Come on. I'm a 41-year-old retired man who's disabled, and you throw words at me like daycare. I mean, come on.
Okay.
That's not something that you know, I'm a man's man. We don't go to daycares, for one. I mean, no offense to anybody or anyone who does that, but you throw a word out like that, and it's
right. Okay. Fair enough.
As far as the LLI thing,
yeah.
I mean, from what I hear, I mean, you guys are putting on a magic show, and hey, I've got a deck of cards. I'm ready. Let's do this thing.
Okay. So maybe LLI is a better fit than daycare center. And Beth Allen is kind of echoing, saying in the chat box, as a former director, she says, David, you wouldn't fit in. But
Yeah.
yes, you would fit in with LLI. And maybe you can even do some presentations or do some work with them. So Stuart, I know you had your hand up, and we're gonna get to Stuart is the last comment before we go to the last scene.
Yeah, hi, this is Adrian. I'm with Stuart. My question was, I came in late. Now, I don't know if David, if you did the Veterans Administration send an occupational therapist in or work with you? Because normally they take into consideration how your house is laid out. If they noticed that your microwave was too high, they would have suggested either low, that's probably built in, but getting one that's more at waist level. They also assess, any impediments such as steps, if you need a ramp, and that sort of thing. So I was wondering whether the Veterans Administration had anything, to say, or did they have any input into your situation?
Well, thank you for coming on and commenting. Honestly, I thought that was part of my caretaker's job, is to figure out these things and see what my needs are and relay that to the VA and whatnot. As far as any kind of therapy coming in, I mean, I have physical therapy comes in once in a while, because obviously I don't have use of my legs. So, they try and help me with that, but
The occupational therapist is involved in activities of daily living as to what you can reach with your arms. I'm not sure, whether your arms are involved as well, but they're the ones that assess these things, and play to your strengths, your physical strength. It involves positioning in the home, exercises so you can reach, perhaps, turn your body in different directions. And I'm not sure if the caregiver should be aware of these things, but
Right.
they're not equipped to do the initial evaluation as to what your needs are.
Yeah, see,
I say this
as far
because
as I know,
yeah.
yeah, as far as I know, that's part of the caretaker's job, is to, figure out what my needs are, take care of me how they're supposed to, and if I need other services that I'm not aware of, then I would think that it's her job to get a hold of these people and get them involved.
Well,
I'm not so sure to what degree. I worked in a skilled nursing facility as a speech therapist, so I have acquaintance with what physical and occupational therapists do, and I know that the occupational therapist where I work would actually, when a person was discharged from the nursing home, would go to that person's house and evaluate what the needs are. Removal of rugs, for example. And I think the caregiver who's sent in from an agency would have to follow the directions of what the physician and the occupational therapist has set up. So I'm not so sure that the caregiver is the ultimate decision maker. I mean, if she has any sense at all, she would realize these things, but not necessarily.
Right. Great. Thank you. Great comment. Thank you so much for that. And you guys could stop your video now. Michelle, you look like you want to respond, and then I'm going to go to Dr. Scala.
I do. I am the third caregiver that comes here from the VA. I didn't get any information. They didn't give me anything. They just give me his address, his name, and his number. That's it. I didn't know anything.
Okay.
What am I supposed to do? I'm not supposed to go and be searching stuff, looking at things, going out of my way. I just come here. He's okay. Good. I leave. That's it.
Here's my question, and then I'm going to go to Dr. Scala for maybe some resources, a VA crisis line perhaps. But Michelle, here's my question. If David is completely disabled and he has no use of his legs, how is he going to the bathroom, and what is your role and responsibility there?
See, I'm supposed to change him like a little baby, but he doesn't need to be changed. He could change himself. He could go to a bathroom. His arms work. He could change himself. That's fine.
But that is your job, isn't it?
Technically it is, but
okay.
He's not a little baby. He's a grown man. He could change himself.
Well, how do you think that's making David feel? David, how does that make you feel? Stuart has fired Michelle. You're fired. David, how does that make you feel, her attitude about you?
I mean, it's clear she just doesn't care. I mean, look, there was food in the microwave for what, 2 weeks? I can't get to it. I can't.
Honestly, I don't really care. One person less that they could take off my roster, better for me. Less work I have to do.
See, that's why she doesn't wear a mask, because if I get COVID and end up in the hospital, then she doesn't have to come over here to take care of me.
Yeah. Dr. Scala, there's got to be some help here. There's got to be a crisis line or some resources that we can give to David.
Yeah, that is the beauty of the world that we're in now. If we were having this discussion maybe about, I would say 5 to 10 years ago, the resources weren't as streamlined and there wasn't a lot of immediate help. We had a lot of, in fact, we did some research in Nova and we found that there was a lot of holes in the system of care. And now that's not necessarily the case anymore. And there's actually a veterans crisis line. If you go to veteranscrisisline.net, there's ways to either call someone, text, or chat. So whatever, however way you feel more comfortable speaking with someone. There's also a website, I think we might share it at the end as well, the maketheconnection.net. And it's a great kind of one-stop shop for veterans where they can go online and find the services that are most necessary for them, and also understanding everybody's roles. Because I think here too, there's a disconnect of, what's Michelle's role in this particular case. And the occupational therapist was a great recommendation there, and usually a very different person than Michelle, that's a specialized person, working in that area, where it's probably likely not Michelle's role to do that. She's there more as the caretaker in this particular case. And so I think the nice thing is we are seeing more and more resources for veterans and more access to that. And it sounds like in this particular case, David needs to be more made aware of those, and maybe his daughter too can be helpful in that process, just kind of meeting and going over all these resources, so that even then she can take a little bit of a step back and focus back on work when she has those things put in place.
Yeah, excellent. And Beth is saying that Broward County Veterans and Elder Affairs needs to get involved here in terms of reporting. And again, that would be David. David would need to report, or David's daughter could report this, which is negligence and bordering on abuse. David, do you look
honestly,
like
honestly, there's so many things that my doctors throw at me. I can't remember half of what they're saying. I can't even remember half the time to take my medication. I don't know what's out there. I don't know what's available. All I know is, my daughter's doing the best she can. And this is the third caregiver I've gotten. And I'm afraid to speak up, because when I do, she doesn't show up for days. And then where am I?
Okay. So there, we see the dynamics here at play. And Beth is also raising an issue of, we don't want our viewers either here participating, right now on Zoom or via YouTube to get the impression that we're trying to say that this is the case for all caretakers. There are so many beautiful, wonderful, caring individuals who are in this profession that really make a difference in the lives of so many people on a daily basis. But we are highlighting the anomaly. We're highlighting this extreme case because they do exist, and that they don't have to exist is, I think, the point. And this is only contributing to David's, mind, body, spirit health. And I do want to get to one thing that we have kind of glossed over. And Dr. Scala, I'd like you to ask David, maybe do a little assessment, if you will, around depression, around his level of depression, of how bad it is. Is he clinically depressed? And what about suicidal ideation? So Michelle, thank you so much. We know you have a nail appointment. We don't want to hold you up any longer on that. So
yeah, your 3 hours are apparently up.
You can go, and Beth Allen has already made the phone call to have your job. So you might want to look for some other employment. But anyway, thank you very much. We'll see you later. Dr. Scala, do you want to do an assessment here?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'd like to ask David, what does a typical day look like for you? in terms of how is your ability to sleep at night? What are some of the things that you do during the day, and thoughts that you have, those types of things?
Well, let's see, Doc. I don't sleep. I'm in too much pain. I toss and turn. I'll sleep for maybe 45 minutes and then I'm up again. I'm getting old, so I got to try and get to the bathroom. Like, got to pee about 4 times a night. Typical day for me around here. Try and eat something. Try to remember to eat something at some point during the day. I spent a lot of time parked in front of the TV because, that's about all I got. And I got, a couple animals at the house, a couple of cats to feed and interact with. And, that's about it. I mean, now I've got a nice computer that I can get a hold of my daughter. I mean, other than that, I don't know. I mean, I got a couple of buddies that I was in the Army with. Once in a while, I get to talk to them, but not often.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question is, what is your social life like? Do you have friends that you can reach out to for support, or that you regularly interact with? It sounds like it's been a challenge here with connecting with those friends in the time of COVID. What was life like before COVID? Were you able to reach out to friends, and do you feel like you had a nice social life before COVID?
Well, before COVID, I mean, I definitely had more people coming around. That's for sure. I had, a couple of buddies that come by, hang out, not supposed to tell this because, my normal doctors don't want me to, but, drink a couple beers, hang out, and, just talk about old times. My daughter, she's insanely busy. But we would have dinner maybe once a week, maybe on a Sunday. She'd come over, hang out, we'd spend the day, and that was really nice. But with this whole COVID thing, I mean, everything's has just gone downhill.
Sure, it definitely sounds like there's been lack of connection with others in your life right now. And oftentimes when individuals have that lack of support and they're feeling down and depressed, they may have thoughts about hurting themselves. And that's something I'd like to ask you. Has that ever popped into your head? Have you ever had a thought of harming yourself?
Well, that's a tough question to answer. I mean, with my situation, who wouldn't?
And how often have you had those thoughts?
Oh, it comes and goes. Some days are better than others.
So, okay, so that gives us a little bit of a bird's eye view into what might be going on for David in terms of suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideation. As a vet, I'm imagining you have guns in the house.
Of course. I mean, what? I don't know any vet that doesn't have guns. I mean, to me, that's a form of therapy. Before COVID and I had friends come around, they'd pick me up and, jump in the truck, so to speak. I mean, I can't jump, obviously, but we'd get in the truck, take off, go down to the range and, shoot a bunch of targets, and hell, I'd come home and take a nap. I'd be good.
Yeah. But I mean, with the accessibility of weapons in the house, with this combination of depression, with possibly self-medicating, if that's happening with alcohol, this is a very deadly combination, right, Dr. Scala?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of red flags here, and want to say factors that can lead to someone being more likely to harm themselves.
Yeah. So let's.
But I got to be able to protect myself. I mean, what happens if somebody breaks in?
Oh yeah, for sure. Right. I mean, we're definitely not suggesting that you don't, that you change any of that, but we want to shine some light on the fact that when we have this perfect formula here for a very tragic ending. And we want to try to protect you from that and prevent that from happening. So let's see what happens now. This is the last scene. This is later in the night. much later in the night, and with David and a friend.
All right, let's see if I can get a hold of Josh. I mean, hell, I really need somebody to talk to, man. I can't sleep. Let's see what's going on.
Yo, David, Dave, hey.
Hey, buddy, what's up, man?
Hey, Bob, computers are different nowadays. Back up a little bit.
Oh, I'm trying to figure this one out. I just got this one.
You see me? Relax in your chair. Put your
Okay.
computer. There you go.
How's that?
You're good, man. What's going on, buddy? How we doing? Haven't talked to you in a minute.
Yeah, well, you know how it goes. I mean, it gets pretty lonely around here. The whole COVID thing going on, you know, nobody comes to see me anymore.
All lonely, don't you got that nurse to come and at least visit you? I bet she keeps you company in them 3 hours.
Yeah, okay. If you say so.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to say, what's up? What's up with all the grogginess, man? Why do you seem so upset?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's 11 o'clock. I figured you'd be up. I can't sleep, man. I'm in too much pain, too much, going on. I can't.
You can't, well, I mean, you can't sleep. You used to be able to sleep with guns going off in the background, sleeping in a dirty field. We used to be in the Army together. Now you're sitting here talking about you can't even just sleep in a comfortable bed.
Things made a lot more sense in Iraq.
I get that, man. But here you are. You even got a daughter who's got all that money. She's helping you buy wheelchairs and computers. And, she's doing the best she can for you, David. You don't talk to her.
I know. I mean, like I said, man, I can't put it on my daughter. She does the best she can, and it just gets lonely.
All right. What about any therapists or shrinks? Because it seems like you're coming to me for all your problems, man. And
come on, man. We don't.
Like you got to reach out to somebody else, bro.
Come on, man. We don't do therapy. We don't do shrinks. Oh, anytime I'm honest with any of them, they just want to hospitalize me. I'm not going through that again.
I get that, David, but you're sitting here calling me like we're supposed to be buds and, we're supposed to have like a fun conversation. You talk about the past, but like here you are telling me how upset you are. Like, I don't know what you want me to do, man. You got to man up. You used to be in the Army, for goodness sake. Come on, David. This isn't you, buddy. I don't know why you're calling me all upset and depressed and everything.
Yeah, I know.
I get it's COVID and all, David, but come on, man. I got my father here to take care of and everything. So, I think it's, you got to grow up a little bit, man. That's all in the past, man. You got to grow up. Time to be a man.
Yeah, I get it, man. I just need a friend.
I feel you, David. Listen, man, if it wasn't for COVID, I'd come over with some beers or something, and I would definitely help you out there, bub. But I just got a lot going on, so I might have to just get to you later. COVID's really affecting all of us over here.
I get it, man. You got to take care of your old man. Tell him I said, hey.
I will just see a shrink or somebody. I know we don't do it, but we used to be in the Army, man. We're built strong. We're a different breed, man.
I know it, man. I know it.
All right. Well, like I said, all this COVID stuff going on, I'm going to go make sure family's safe. And I'll keep my attention on them, man. They need me a little bit more right now, I feel like.
All right, man. Well, hey, before you go, I know we haven't gone shooting in a while, but why don't you stop by later on? Just come pick up my guns. I'll just let you have them.
I guess if I can, I'll bring some beer by, David, and I guess I can try and pick up some of them guns. But are you giving all of them away, or are you gonna finally give that 12 gauge you've been trying to give away, or what we think?
Yeah, you can finally have that Mossberg.
Yeah,
but I got to keep one. I gotta be able to protect myself and whatnot. So
which one is that? I thought you were giving all your guns away.
Well, I got to keep that Kimber. That's a given.
What do you need the little Kimber for, man? That's probably the least one you need to keep of all of them for safety or whatever.
Well, at least then I have a way out.
All right, David. Like I was talking about earlier, you're talking about giving your guns away, COVID and everything. I get it's tough. Man, but don't be talking like that. I gotta go. You gotta go see a shrink if you're talking about keeping a gun for something like that, man. But be safe. All right, I'll try my best to stop by, but don't talk like that. I'll come and get the gun soon.
Yeah, I got you. I'll see you
soon.
soon.
Bye, David. Be safe.
All right, man.
Freeze. Wow, David. Oh my God, David. David, I want to come right to your house right now. I want to get you and put you in the car. And look at this. Rudy is giving you his phone number right here. Rudy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay.
I know it sounds long distance.
I'll be very glad to chat with you, hear about your life, especially all you did while in service. Dr. Scala, this is intense. This is an intense scene.
Definitely. And I think this scene, out of all the 3 scenes here, depicts what it's like to be a veteran and having interactions with your buddies that, you know, serve time with you in war, and coming at it again to a lot of the things that Josh had mentioned there, you know, kind of manning up, be a man, you know, go see a shrink, go talk to somebody. And there wasn't a whole lot of support from him and, you know, empathy from him. I think that type of
That's just
solution to the problems are very common in the military population, and why in many cases they're hesitant to reach out for help and support, you know, having that stigma attached to seeing a mental health professional. And I think we're seeing that a little bit here, and also highlighted a little bit more about the suicidal stuff going on here and the access to means. And here now we have almost you know, we have a direct statement from David saying that, you know, he has a way out and it's in his possession, and we don't want to let something like that slide. And Josh just kind of abruptly left him hanging and said, go get help elsewhere. And that's not the thing that you want to do when someone's just you know, mentioned that they have a gun and they're thinking about hurting themselves.
Yeah. David, that must have felt like a release.
Yeah, kind of. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not something I'm going to tell my daughter.
Yeah. Stewart is saying this man is truly alone for many reasons. His daughter's self-absorbed, his caretaker negligent, his friend is not there for him. Clearly, many aspects need to be addressed, but pragmatically, the most important thing is to separate him from his ammunition until an intervention can be achieved. Suicide will render everything else moot. Excellent, really well said, Stewart. So Josh, you're the friend. Can you come back on a minute?
Hey, there he is.
So,
What's going on, Bo?
so Josh is not a very not very empathic right now. Why are you having a difficult time with being compassionate toward your friend?
You know, it's funny because I feel like even though he's my friend, you know, you got to be there for him. It's just our past and how we used to be sitting there in army bunks, through camp, we've been through everything together. I mean, we would sit there and we would just throw fake punches at each other, and we'd give each other black eyes on accident. And, you know, we'd even pull tricks on like our bunk mates and stuff like that. So, I mean, him and I would always just talk smack to each other about what we had going on and what we had waiting for us. So, you know, hearing him talk like that, I just know that's not David. So the last thing I think of is not giving so much of my moral support, but thinking about the old days before COVID, where him and I used to beat each other up all the time out of fun. So I don't really see that side of him that much.
Right. But David, how did you feel about Josh's kind of like warm response?
I mean, it's one thing, you know, when we're joking around and everything's good. You know, it's another when you're really going through some shit.
Yeah. So do we have any hands up or any comments from the audience of anybody that wants to interact with David? We have covered a lot of material in the first 2 scenes. We got a lot of, you know, a lot of good feedback, a lot of good analysis about David. Ira, is saying this situation needs an observer like we are doing. Lots of good ideas come from looking at the situation from the outside. So Dr. Scala, kind of to close this scene out, what intervention is needed? Oh, and Nellie has her hand up too. Okay, great. We'll get Nellie right after Dr. Scala.
Yeah, I think right now David definitely needs immediate assistance. I would reach out to the crisis line, either getting him to do that and being there while he does it. His daughter doing that, or Josh being there, someone close to him being there while he makes that call and helping. And then I'm thinking of just other types of interventions that would really be supportive in this case. And I think of him needing connection. And I know that there are support groups that exist even in an online virtual world right now. I know the VA has done a nice job trying to have those resources in your local area and looking for those, or even if it's not related to veterans, maybe any other type of virtual support group, or going and being a part of a group of people that are doing something enjoyable, whether it's any type of hobby or interest that he's he has that an interest in being able to attend a group with people of similar interests. So those connections are definitely needed. And then, of course, we've been talking about therapy, more longer term therapy. I think it would be nice for him to have a therapist that he can feel comfortable with and be able to share his thoughts and feelings. And maybe the VA can recommend somebody who really understands what he's going through, because I think if he goes to somebody who's not skilled in working with this population, he's going to get that same feeling again, like this, this person's just going to want to hospitalize me or medicate me, like I think he had mentioned earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because this could be very well leaning toward a hospitalization that might be needed here.
And that's what I'm afraid of.
And that's what David's afraid of. So David could be encouraged to volunteer and help others to give him a purpose in his life. That's another intervention strategy. Nellie, you have your hand up.
Yes, I was about to say the same thing, because this poor man is fighting his demons alone. And we are all very depressed with the COVID lasting so long, and we don't know for how much longer. But in his case, he cannot move. He's in a wheelchair that doesn't even exist, and he's very depressed. He needs help now, and a couple of beers, especially with his medication, will not help him by Josh. That's all.
Exactly. And we know that alcohol is it's already a depressant. So if we're already in a place of
won't hurt me.
If we're already in a place of feeling depressed and suicidal, or having any kind of suicidal ideation, staying away from alcohol is the best thing. We don't want to self-medicate, right, Dr. Scala? Did you want to weigh in on that, on alcohol, the alcohol piece?
Definitely, now is not the time to be using a substance that's going to alter your ability to think clearly in this particular case, and he may do something irrational without knowing when he's under the influence of alcohol. So any those types of substances he can stay away from was going to be helpful.
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask the ensemble to come back on. Ask the ensemble to come on, all of our players. There's a lot of really great ideas that are coming from the audience, that David could start a journal, a notebook, write down information from his doctors, track his medication, doesn't need to rely on his memory for his treatment and his well-being. Someone to help him help his computer skills would be also very, very good and helpful. So we have a lot of really good information. Naisha, who is on YouTube, said this is classic tough love that we're seeing from Josh. Also, he may be uncomfortable. He may be uncomfortable with what he's hearing, the symptoms of depression and possible suicidal. There's a suicidal cry for help here when David says that classic scene, that classic comment, and he says a way out. I'm looking, I need to have that way out. And that, to me, that was the tip off of what might happen if we don't get in there right away. So I'm going to ask the group, the ensemble, the actors to come out of character And a good way to come out of character when we do this kind of theater work is you know, have the guys are going to remove their hats. Like David's going to take his hat off. Josh is going to take his hat off. Oh, maybe he doesn't want to take his hat off. Unbutton his shirt. If there's water nearby, I'd like you guys to drink some water right now. If you can, just drink some water.
Have a coconut
Maybe
nap.
Dr. Scala would probably say that that's not a good idea because that's going to dehydrate you, and caffeine is only going to make your anxiety more. So, but water is good. Hydrate. First of all, I'm blown away, David. I'm blown away by your acting, but I also know your story. And so I don't know if you feel like you want to share that right now, but what was it like to be a part of this?
This is an amazing group to work with. I mean, just to let you guys know, see, I can walk around. I'm good. I'm not actually in a wheelchair. I am a disabled veteran, and this is very near and dear to me. Like I said, this is an amazing cast to work with. But unfortunately, we are losing about 22 veterans a day to suicide. So to me, when Dr. Telesco gave the idea that, you know, we were going to be doing this, you know, I had a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of feelings about it. But overall, I think this, if we can help one person, then it's worth it.
Yeah. And David, you know, I love you so much. You are near and dear to me. David and Josh are both work study students, and they work on the Sociodrama community initiative. So we do these kinds of things for the community, but we give our, you know, I'm not acting, but the actors in the Sociodrama club and community initiative give their heart and soul to this, and you could see that David has given his heart and soul to this performance, and I'm blown away by it. Dr. Scala, do you want to weigh in on the performance of David, and any tips for David right now? David, the actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm blown away by his performance, and you really felt like you were getting a sense of what a disabled veteran goes through, and some of the barriers to treatment, and then even, you know, in our world of COVID right now, how those barriers get even magnified, and the struggles are really real, and these do exist out there. And as David was mentioning, losing those 22 veterans a day is a staggering statistic, and something we need to pay attention to. And I think too, for him, I think, like you were saying, Dr. Telesco, I want to reach out and help him and be able to provide any support for him right now. And so I think that would be, you know, my suggestion for him is to start to reach out to all of the nice resources that are available out there, and kind of getting away from his family and friends, because we're seeing that they may not be the best people right now to be in a position to help him so much. And obviously we want them to be a part of this process, but he can start that ball rolling, and starting to connect with the people that are going to be more empathetic and being able to be supportive, where maybe he's in a better position in the future to start to reach out and express his thoughts and feelings to his daughter and his friends and caretaker.
Yes. And David, you know, I know that David's work with us over the last few years, you know, is it's beneficial. You know, I'm a former NYPD 20-year lieutenant. I was a first responder at Ground Zero. So I walked away from, you know, a beautiful career of 20 years, doing some really, really great, exciting work. But also walked away with some deleterious effects of 9/11. And so David and I have, you know, that going with each other. We get it. But the work that we do helps us.
Absolutely.
It helps us. And so we do this work, we become immersed in it, we're passionate about it, and it becomes therapeutic. So that's something that we could tell our viewers. our participants that are watching on Zoom, participating with us here, but also on YouTube, that getting involved in something that makes you feel passionate is really very therapeutic. And you know, I know that David and I kind of like have that going with each other, that you know, sometimes the work that we were involved with, like nothing compares to that. The
Right.
excitement, the drama of it, even if it was in life, kind of life-threatening assignments, but there's that adrenaline rush about it, and it keeps you going, you know. And then now we're in the civilian life, and it's just like it can be very depressing, because your identity, where is your identity? And so now enter COVID, it's, you know, all bets are off, and it's a perfect storm. It can be a perfect storm for folks. So I'm gonna go to Greta, actually, from our first scene, our daughter. What was it like, Greta, to play this role?
Oh my gosh, it was very hard because my personality is completely not like that. I am very on top of work all the time, and I do like to do most things myself rather than having somebody else do them for me. But I'm very cooperative. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I like to work with people, and I think I work well with people. And I also, if my actual dad, who was in fact a veteran like David, I really wouldn't treat him like that. So it was very hard to stay in character and not smile and in agreement with people. When you guys were suggesting, you know, all these great tips, in my head, I'm like, yes, absolutely, that's correct. But I had to stay in character. It was hard.
The other thing I want to say about Greta is that she is a Fishler College of Education
secondary
amazing student. Tell us a little bit about what you're involved with. Is Fishler Academy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So I'm in the Fishler Academy, which is under the Fishler College of Education. It's just a fast-paced program for education. You're required to take either 18 credits or 21 credits, depending on, you know, how fast you want to graduate. I am on the 21 credit path. So I'm constantly in class, and when I'm not in class, I'm doing homework. But it's a great program.
And when you're not doing that, you're in the Sociodrama club.
And when I'm not doing that, I'm doing something that I really, really enjoy doing, which is being part of this club and being, you know, a member. And it's really amazing.
Excellent.
Very busy girl.
Thank you. So Michelle, you're the most hated of all of the characters. What was it like to be a part of the project? What was it like to play this terrible role?
It really was a terrible role to play. It's so difficult to be so emotionless, so careless, and just not give their full attention to someone that is disabled. I just learned so much. I've never been exposed to the VA, what the VA stands for. We know that caregivers can be good and bad, but just being exposed to that, and just being exposed to a veteran, the veteran life, and what they have to go through, it's just such a learning experience for me, because I've never had that in my life. So overall, the role was just difficult to portray. Just giving him no attention was something that I usually don't do. So just learning overall, it was great to take part of it.
Thank you. Well done. Well done. If we're walking away hating you, you did a good job. And Josh, what was it like to be a part of this?
Oh my gosh. I mean, honestly, I actually just want to start by saying, David, we're going to get lunch. I don't care if you say yes or no. I'm just saying. But I want everybody out there to know that me and David are actually really close in real life. As Dr. Telesco said, we've been doing this work study this is our second year now. And it's funny because the first 2 years I was doing chemistry. Second 2 years, I transferred into different majors just because I wasn't enjoying it. I met Dr. Telesco and David, and like ever since then, we've been close as ever. So it was hard for me to talk like this to David. Also, y'all notice my Southern accent is gone. These are my clothes and my hat. You know, that's why I didn't take it off. I'm actually super comfortable in it. I am from the South, but you know, that was just my little twang from back home. But yeah, I mean, I always love doing these sociodramas. I always learn so much, like Michelle said. Like, I've never understood the VA. I am super young as it is. So I always love hearing from them, like, and seeing like stuff like this. It really shows you what's going on. And all of our past sociodramas, we've seen like what the signs of bullying are and how to stop it, like different things like that. Like when people are struggling with a lot of inner demons, I have now seen through sociodramas, and I definitely think this is something everybody should do, is just get like 4 or 5 people together and create like a small skit for somebody who probably doesn't understand like what somebody's going through with thought processes. And I don't think anybody understands truly how life-changing it can be to them. And so like, that's why even we were talking about this, like every time I speak at the end of one of these, I always mention that as long as what we do inspires other people to recreate what we do, or if we save one life through the participants that we have, that's how I know that we've done a good job.
Yes.
And also, like I said, Dr. T, while I'm talking, I do want to say, since Mike asked about if we've ever done anything for the veterans community, we haven't yet, because sociodrama is also still super new. However, we are always opening up our viewers to different things. So that's something that we are interested in the future. And like, as you can see now, this is like what we like to do, is we like to show all of our audience members like what these people go through and the actions that people have to deal with. So that's what we do and what we represent. And we're glad that you guys can now see what we do and like how effective it can actually be.
Excellent. Yeah. And if anybody has any connections with the VA and they'd like us to do this for them, we would be happy to do that. Dr. Scala, what was your reaction, your analysis in terms of putting this together, working with us, and ultimately, you know, how it came out?
I thought this was amazing. I've actually been on a couple of sociodramas now with David, Josh, and Michelle, and each performance seems better than the next. I think this was their best performance, and getting to see Greta, I know being a Fischler Academy student, that those students, because I teach them, they are very dedicated and motivated, and you're probably a very type A person in real life. That's why you played the role so well. And so my only fear is that I hope you're taking care of your mental health and you're not overwhelming yourself and giving yourself time to be able to handle that.
We try to keep an eye on her.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to ask Linda to come back on, and Beth, if she wants to give us your reaction.
Well, I thought it was wonderful. I was multitasking, as I usually have to do, since I always joke that I don't get paid to attend all the lectures, but I thought you all did a fantastic job. I think it was so real that at some point some of our members were concerned that you were all actually the people who you were playing, and not just and not yourselves, who you are now. I wanted to share, because Dr. Telesco asked me to as well, that some of you at the LLI know that and you may have participated in a study back in April and May about our ability to Zoom and connect and learn online together through the LLI. And I think it has some relevance to what you were portraying. And the bottom line of the study was that despite some early challenges for a lot of people who were unfamiliar with the platform, over 80% of you felt that having this connection with the LLI and live Zoom classes, not necessarily the recorded ones, but live classes, reduce your feeling of loneliness and social isolation. And over 80% of you agreed that it improves your quality of life. So I think we all have to make do. There's nothing we can do to change this. I know that some people have said, why can't we be in person? And while in theory there are ways to do it, but it doesn't reduce and it doesn't protect everybody the way that we would like to be able to protect. So without being able to do that in person, things like what the LLI is doing in these sociodrama presentations, and anything that you can do to socialize using this platform, it's amazing, and it's better than nothing. And we encourage everybody to engage in one way, shape, or form, because it will help you, as the research has shown. And thank you for all that you've done, Dr. Telesco, and your wonderful colleagues, students, helpers, etc.
Thank you to everybody. And Anthony, come on back, Anthony. He's our tech support guy. He's our behind the scenes man, giving us all the instructions and everything else. And we so appreciate that you have your flag in the background. So Anthony, what was it like to be a part of this?
Well, it's actually kind of interesting because I've never been the tech support guy before. Like I remember my first sociodrama, I was actually the guy filming for the dental school. Then I was actually a part of one a little bit with David, Josh, and Orlando, who's not here, but it's actually pretty fun. Like I'm sorry if I didn't get to all your guys' comments and like raising your hands. I was going between both, and I think I could have done a little bit better, but it's been pretty fun. It was pretty worthwhile.
Great, awesome. And so I'm gonna ask everybody to stop their video. Thank you so much, everybody, for being on this really important presentation and performance. Thank you, Linda, and also Beth, for asking us to do this performance, to do this presentation. We are happy to do more of these for you as we go forward.
Dr. Telesco, if I may interrupt you for a second, I saw in the comments that someone was asking for your email, whose son works for the VA and apparently went to school with me as well, it looks like from the comment. So maybe that could be a nice connection for being able to do something like this for the VA.
Excellent. Please, my number, let me just put my number in the chat for a moment. Anyone can call me anytime. Let me just get this to everyone. 917-579-3750. Anyone who is, well, now all of YouTube and the entire public has that phone number, which that's not what I meant to do, but now great.
Time to change your number.
You can call me if you have any connections that you'd like us to do Sociodrama for, any groups, elderly, seniors, any vulnerable populations, schools, VA. Just give me a call and we'll make it happen. So thank you again to LLI for their important work. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you for all of our viewers on YouTube. I hope that we did possibly save a life today. So thank you again.
And Dr. Telesco, if you want to schedule another one, I'm booked through the fall, but I'm scheduling for January and beyond. So send me an email and we can pick something for the winter.
Awesome. We're in. Right, guys? We're in.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
The team is ready.
All right. The team is ready to go. Thank you, Dr. Scala, for doing this with us. We so much appreciate you. And this was invaluable, an invaluable discussion and an invaluable program. So thank you to all. And we're going to stop our live